Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center. And today we're comparing two different knives with similar styles but very different attitudes. The Buck 110 Slim Pro and the Cold Steel Broken Skull. Let's check them out. When you think of these two knife brands, you probably have a very different mental picture of each of them. On the one hand, you've got Buck, one of those classic knife companies with tons of heritage. And even though they have plenty of modern designs, they've always been heavily associated with the outdoors and with traditional knife patterns. On the other hand, Cold Steel have built their reputation on heavy-duty bruisers, and they're steeped in the realms of the tactical and martial arts. While the culture of these two companies varies greatly, they've managed to create a pair of folders that compete very directly with one another. In the case of the 110 Slim Pro, we see Buck taking their most recognizable pattern and fully modernizing it, mixing in elements that are designed to appeal to modern EDC sensibilities. By creating a knife with a slender profile and a deep carry pocket clip, as well as ambidextrous one-hand deployment via dual thumb studs, they've given new legs to this enduring design. However, the Cold Steel Broken Skull leans more on attitude than heritage. This knife was designed in collaboration with wrestling superstar Stone Cold Steve Austin, and while having a celebrity endorsement might seem like a gimmick, his persona really is a perfect match for what Cold Steel is trying to do with this knife, combining their signature swagger with overbuilt precision and functional design. So it's very apparent that this knife is an homage to the 110, but Cold Steel clearly have their own way of doing things. The first big similarity we see are the blades themselves. Both knives feature a clip point profile with similar length and steels. The Buck comes in at 3 5/8 of an inch, while the Broken Skull is a hair over 4 inches, bringing a bit more sharpened edge to the table. The Broken Skull is also a little more dramatic in its shape, with a wide blade and an aggressive clip, whereas Buck has actually toned down their shape, substituting a straight clip for the more scooped out look of the original. Steel-wise, the 110 is using a satin-finished S30V that's gone through Buck's world-famous Boss heat treat, while the Cold Steel sports DLC-coated S35VN. Another place where these two blades set themselves apart is with their grind. The Buck has a very effective hollow grind, while the Broken Skull has a full flat grind, and given its ever so slightly thicker blade stock, that should help it with efficiency. When I was using them to cut cardboard, these two knives were pretty evenly matched, but I'll give the slight edge here to the Buck. Despite the full flat grind on the Cold Steel, the slightly thicker stock held it back just a little bit. Both were rocking a stropped factory edge when we did this part of our testing. The other thing we noticed was that the coating on the Broken Skull tended to pick up scuffs a little more easily than the satin-finished 110, something to keep in mind depending on your preferences. For handles, both knives come with G10, providing a lightweight feel while also giving you good traction. You can also get the 110 in micarta if you prefer, but the Broken Skull only comes in G10, albeit in far more colors than the Buck, which can only be had in black. Cold Steel's G10 also has a little bit more texture than the Buck, but it's a bit of a wash as to which will be easier to hold onto when putting it to work. While both have very slender frames, the Cold Steel is a bit longer and thinner than the Buck. Personally, the Buck feels a little more natural in my hands and allowed me to put a little more force behind my cuts. This was especially noticeable when cutting through manila rope, where the Cold Steel tended to dig into my hands just a little bit more. That slight increase in girth, as well as the more rounded nature of the shoulders of the G10 on the Buck, also made wood carving a little bit easier. Of course, with any folder, it's always a good idea to wear gloves when really pushing them hard, which can help to alleviate those hot spots. Although neither of their respective textures are overly rough, the Buck ought to slide in and out of your pocket a little easier, aided a bit by the previously mentioned deep carry pocket clip. It's also reversible for carry on the left or right side. The Broken Skull is also left or right hand friendly, but it actually comes with 2 pocket clips, so that it can follow the contours of the handle on either side. Finally, we come to the locking mechanisms, and both feature a sturdy lockback. On the Buck, the lock release is placed on the end of the handle like many traditional lockbacks, while Cold Steel places theirs at the center. The difference between the two really comes down to personal preference, but the Broken Skull pulls ahead here because their mechanism is no ordinary lockback. This knife actually uses their world-class Andrew Demko designed triad lock. With extra refinements and internal modifications over a traditional lockback, Cold Steel boasts one of the strongest locks on the market, giving the Broken Skull a more overbuilt nature than the Buck. At a glance, you can clearly see the family resemblance between these two knives, but on closer inspection, both have been shown to have their own identities. While I would probably pick the Buck for outdoor tasks, I did find it pretty handy when making tent stakes. The Cold Steel definitely takes the edge when it comes to tactical needs. Both are great, larger EDC knives that can work very hard, but we can't really pick a winner because it just comes down to taste. So that's where you guys come in. Make sure to tell us down below in the comments section which one of these you'd put your own money on. If you do that and you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'll actually be giving away the knives that we used for this video. The full rules are listed below, but if you don't want to wait and want to get your hands on one of these great knives right now, click the link in the description below to head over to knifecenter.com.